This is the golden age for business. Big brands are battling upstart disruptors in every sector and in every market. It's one of the greatest dramas on earth. Who are the lead characters in this global drama? Who are the individuals behind the billion-dollar idea? And what inspires them, drives them, keeps them awake? Is it luck or brilliance, sweat or timing? And what it's all for?
Welcome to Billion Dollar Idea, a show about business leaders making it big through thick and thin hope and despair. In this episode, a Kerala man drops out of school, goes to the big city, and after a series of hits and misses in technology, makes it really big in the Fintech neo-banking industry with a company he called Open.
Founded in 2017, the Open neo-banking platform is fast changing the fundamentals of how businesses bank. For small businesses and startups, maintaining a business account, keeping track of documentation, and complying with taxation rules can be overwhelming. Often, business owners struggle to keep track of their income and expenses. Recognizing the need for a holistic financial solution for the segment, a tech visionary and serial entrepreneur, Anish Achyutan reimagined the way businesses bank. With like-minded fintech mavericks Mabel Chako, Ajish Achyutan, and Dena Jacob, Anish co-founded Open, Asia's first digital banking platform for small businesses, startups, and freelancers. The platform combines banking, automated accounting, bookkeeping, expense management, compliance, and payroll in one single platform. The unicorn helps make operations seamless and easy for millions of businesses. Open already powers more than 3 million small businesses. Its meteoric rise to popularity is not ending anytime soon. The platform adds over 1 lakh businesses every month, making it the fastest growing neo-banking platform globally. The icing on the cake, Open raised its latest round of funding in May 2022. The company became the 100th unicorn from India. This achievement brought laurels and recognition from all around. But Anish and his super achievers believe it's just the beginning of their success story.
And joining me now, son of Kerala, icon of disrupting the financial service industry, Anish Achyutan. Anish, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jasper.
Hi, we're delighted to see you in these amazing offices. Now tell me, Anish, let me take you back 23 years ago. 23 years ago, when you were 11th grade, you walked out, you went to chase your dreams. What were you thinking?
So I got inspired by the world of entrepreneurship, and the only way for me to chase a dream was to move out and move to that city of Trivandrum.
But how as an 11th grader did you even know about entrepreneurship? I mean, your parents are government people, that's not in your background. Where did this even come from?
So I got introduced to the world of newspapers by the age of when I was in third grade, and I wanted to always become a journalist.
Oh, you did?
Yes. So
you're in a better place.
So once you have the aspiration of becoming a journalist, you started actually focusing on all the newses, especially the business.
Yeah.
Then I happened to read about the stories of the internet started coming in 1997 when I was in the 7th grade.
.com stuff.
.com stuff.
Yeah.
Got my first email in the district, then started a passion towards website. And I started creating a website to create a media portal. But that's when I came to know about the stories of Sabir Bhatia, and that was my inspiration.
Okay.
And I realized, I thought, coming from a small town, that's the reason why people don't really get me, or they don't able to understand what I'm talking about. So I thought, let me move to a big city, and that's how I started.
But Anish, do you think, so we explore on this show kind of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, the essence of entrepreneurship or building a big business. Was it a benefit almost not knowing about business because you almost had nothing to fear? Was that a benefit?
I think entrepreneurship is like your military. I personally believe that this can never be taught in schools, and you need to get it by experience.
Yeah.
And sometimes it actually helps when you don't really know anything about it. You just have this idea, and then you learned it over the ways.
Yeah.
For creating your first website, or then trying to understand business models.
Yeah.
So you gain a lot of more experience than what actually happens in a very controlled environment.
So kind of the less you know, the more you know, in a way. It's good to know nothing to start with.
To start with, basically, when you're just getting into entrepreneurship, I would say it's actually better to start with that. But over a period of times, through your failures, through your other things, then you actually gain that experience.
Yeah, like Samuel Beckett said, you fail again, fail better, right? But just staying on the character of entrepreneurs, do you think, I mean, places like schools are very conventional, right? Do you think conventionality is like an enemy of entrepreneurship?
I don't think it's an enemy, but I feel like, in today's culture, basically, especially in schools, we don't, at least 10 years, 20 years back, you don't really give importance to, of entrepreneurship. You don't really bring in too many stories of like this entrepreneurs. Yeah. Things have changed a lot over the last,
changing?
Yes, last 20 years, things have a lot changed. Now, today's generation, basically, they come to know about like these startups and these entrepreneurs, and they get inspired. And I can see, like, I've met a lot of people who are in their 11th or 12th saying that, okay, now I wanted to seriously have entrepreneurship, focus on entrepreneurship as a career.
And it's amazing in India, isn't it? Because literally in one generation, you've gone from a situation where parents might not have been keen on it to all these people knowing about it, right? It's an amazing transformation.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the business, Anish, okay? So here we are in Open. Now, your USP, as I understand it, is that you effectively create a solution not only for accounts departments, but the interface with banks. Just tell me, what is the true USP? And is the USP the product, or is it the culture?
The USP is the product, and the growth. The growth is basically because of the people and the culture.
Yeah.
Now, what we're doing differently is that we are actually bringing together disparate systems, which is the banking and the financial tools finance teams or businesses use together in one unified platform. And our USP was about directly integrating and partnering with banks, because traditionally in India, we don't have markets like in India, we don't have an infrastructure that actually helps the financial tools to get connected to the bank. So we actually painstakingly over the last 4 years was able to directly partner with banks and integrate with the financial tools to the banking systems, so that we can help business owners and finance teams get more time for their business.
We've had the privilege of being early partners with Open and have seen the organization empower the Indian SMB with their formidable full-stack technology. Not only has Open helped propel over 3.5 million businesses, they have done this in deep collaboration with the largest financial institutions in the country. Anish is a quiet genius, but that calm hides a product visionary with an incredible ambition.
It must have been very hard when you started, right? When you go to ICICI or SBI, whoever it is, when you had nothing, what did they say? Who are you? Or?
The first 1 year was really tough. It actually took around 12 to 15 months to get our first banking partner. And initially, they didn't really find a value in the solutions. But the first banking partner, ICICI, they experimented. They were ready to get on a pilot with us. And the pilot really worked. And later, then the rest of the banks followed, basically.
But why did you get the break? Persistence? Fantastic salesmanship? What's the secret?
I think for the first 18 months, as I mentioned, the 15 months, we persistently focused on like getting the banking alliances. Myself was stationed in Mumbai. I got a alliance head who was actually experienced in these things. Yeah. And we were like chasing all the bankers, basically.
You're banging on the door. Banging on the door.
Yeah. And we sometimes we used to get very cold responses. But when they started persistently seeing us, they actually were ready to listen to us, basically. And that's how we got the first break.
Anish, let's talk a bit about culture. You've got a big team here, 500 people?
Yeah.
How have you thought about team and culture? I mean, I see that you've married one of your co-founders. Congratulations. Is this an extension of the family? How do you think about all of this?
Yes, very much. So when we started Open, we want to actually build a global fintech brand out of India, right? Starting from the name Open onwards, we want to actually have a culture which is different, which is more human in nature. And that's when we actually started with the initial 20-member team. We put a lot of focus on how can we actually create an environment where you feel like you're happy every day when you come to office. How do you actually build the human bonds and the connections? And we actually started putting out a dedicated person to actually help right from the beginning, when the 25th employee onwards, to help us in building that together. Today, I think we can very proudly say that, okay, this is actually like a one family wherein, and it actually helps a lot basically in terms of getting work done. Everybody is like together in this journey to the ups and downs.
I love how the office is this fun, vibrant workspace where teams can come together to brainstorm and implement solutions that puts users at the heart of everything we do here at Open. It's heartening to see folks from such diverse backgrounds who are encouraged to be their true, authentic selves, and how this has shaped Open's culture to be what it is today, one tight-knit tribe.
You banged on doors, you got in, you've been building this, you've got 500 people, you've built a bit of culture, right? But you can't do this without money. Let's talk a little bit about money. You've had multiple investors over multiple rounds, right? How have you found all of that? And how did you even, I mean, for our viewers that want to get into this, how did you even learn about capital and funds and Temasek and Tiger and all of these guys?
Right. So as I told, like when I started my journey 21 years back in 2001, the first 5 years was more about like understanding about how venture capital works, which are the venture capital firms. Then had 3 ventures where actually some of them failed, some of them were successful. Then I also used to work with like the leadership of companies like PayU and Citrus Payments.
And you're learning from them too.
Yeah, so that gave me a lot of exposure in terms of how there's investors, and it helped in the networking. But I think for Open, the first break was that we got the founders of PayU and Citrus. They were the first angel investors who came on board on the platform.
And you'd been with them.
I used to work with them basically.
I see. So your mentors then were kind of we're getting more directly financially involved. Okay, now having established a platform in India, 3 million, downstream SME clients, a dozen banks, a B2B business, $1 billion valuation. By the way, do you care about having $1 billion valuation? It's an exciting day, but does it mean anything to you?
To be honest, like we never chased valuations, and becoming a $1 billion company was never a dream. When it happened last year, when we became the 100th unicorn in India, yes, that was like, we are really happy about that. But I don't really personally believe that as an entrepreneur we should chase about like.
No. Well, I guess it's pretty nice to be part of a certain element of Indian history and have our Prime Minister Sri Modi mention your name. That's a happy feeling, right?
Right. That's
okay. So, Anish, you've domestically in a huge market, you've acquired 3 million SME customers, a dozen banks, right, which is astonishing growth, and it's a national proposition, and you've got international aspirations, right? How are you thinking about that? Is it daunting? Is it something why are you even doing it, and how are you going to do it?
Right. So currently our focus is on the India market, but then over this journey, while we started as a direct to SME platform, banks started telling us like, hey, we also wanted to offer a solution similar to what you're offering directly to the SMEs. Can you white label the solutions? That's when we got the half a dozen banks to roll out the solutions. And then we started getting a lot of inquiries from the banks outside India, because these banks are also now trying to solve for the same challenges which we are solving in the India market.
But from Europe or Asia or the USA? From everywhere?
Mostly from the European markets and the Southeast Asia. And Middle East. These are the markets, because they've also been closely following like what's happening in the India market, and in their own home turf is where there is a lot of fintechs which is like taking away their market share. So our solution perfectly fits for those banks to actually roll out these solutions and compete with those.
But how do you think about the cultural dimension? Because, you've got great market coverage in India, and you've got I think you've got people here from 21 states of India, right? So India. How are you going to get your head around the UK culture, the German culture, the American culture?
So we are very clear that when it comes to the outside markets, we are not going to directly launch the solutions to the SMEs. We'll actually offer the solution to banks where they can actually white label and sell it to the end customer. So,
I see. They're effectively the distribution gateway.
Right. So we only need the team to support the banks, basically.
Okay. Let's change direction a little bit. So, we've talked about the culture, we've talked about products, we've talked about money, we've talked a bit about the international side, Anish. Let's talk about purpose, right? You've got this $1 billion valuation, you're growing and you're growing, you employ a lot of people. How do you think about diversity, giving back to the community? being a good citizen, the environment. How do you think about all of that? Does it matter for your business?
Yes, it matters, and we discussed about the culture part earlier. So, starting from the organization itself, we have like 70% of the top leadership is women. We have like 36% of our like workforce again as a women. Even though we are like gender neutral, we actually create a lot of opportunities for women to actually come.
And that's unusual in the tech industry in India, right? It's pretty unusual.
Right. Then we also have actually, try to actually give an opportunity to people who normally are not considered employable by other companies by giving them training, basically, etc.
What kind of people?
So probably the people who have got career breaks, basically after delivering a baby, or like they've been on a sabbatical kind of a things. So we also had actually given them opportunities, trained them basically, and come and work. So those kind of like initiatives we have.
Does that tie back, Anish, to the fact that you yourself were someone who kind of didn't complete schooling? Is it partly because of that you want to give opportunities to people who...
Yeah, so when I was actually starting my first startup, I used to sleep in a railway station in a temple for 4 years, and during that time it seemed like a lot of people around me. And one thing I realized that, okay, at least I have a dream, I have a hope that, okay, someday, things will change. But for a lot of those people, like, things always remain the same, basically. So definitely that is definitely there, basically, in terms of like doing that. Now I just talked about like about the culture part here, but now giving back to the societies, we helps a lot of other startups to get started. We have created an accelerated program in Cochin where we have actually a 10,000 square feet space where
back in the home.
Yeah, we actually every 6 months we actually bring a cohort of like startups. We provide them the free infrastructure and a grant to help them start their business.
Anish, I'm still slightly taking in this story about you being in a railway station and a temple, but have you been back there?
Yes, last year the founders, we all went there basically.
That's interesting. And on that subject, I mean, we meet many founders who have big personalities, but is your founder's story relevant to inspiring the people here, or are you kind of neutral on it?
I think in some ways, like, it's inspiring. It helps me to connect with the people better here, my colleagues, and for them also to connect with me, it becomes easier as well. And also it inspires in many ways, like, because it's not about entrepreneurship alone. When you are like stuck in life, many times many people actually like they don't move forward basically. So it's probably maybe the story inspires them. Okay, now even I can do that basically.
Anish is an incredible leader whose passion for the industry is truly inspiring. And one thing which sets him apart is that he's calm and composed even in difficult situations, and how he keeps inspiring and driving his team forward.
Anish, we've talked a lot about your business and your wonderful team, and this is an epic achievement. But what about you, the man? What do you get up to outside of work?
So, honestly, for the last 3 years, basically, I didn't get much time, basically. But specifically from the last 1 year onwards, I used to take a lot of time. I have a small farm where I grew vegetables. Then I do cooking, basically. I do invite my friends, and I like to cook.
That's great. I love the idea that a neo-banking man actually is getting his hands into the earth. What's your go-to dish?
For me, the Kerala fish curry. That's my specialty basically, and I also make biryanis.
Can you teach me how to make your Kerala fish curry?
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah, I'd love that. So Anish, just staying on you. I mean, to build this, you need a lot of energy, you need a lot of drive, you need a lot of imagination, you need a lot of capital. But where does this all come from in you? Where does this faith come from? Is it from do you have a spiritual guide? Is it a family thing? Where does this all come from?
I think I do believe in the power of subconscious mind. So, a lot of things which actually happen, basically, I used to always dream about it, have a vision board about it. And I do believe there is some force in the universe.
There's something else, right?
If you really think about it, or if you really dream about it, and if you really want it, it will actually come to you. Yeah. The law of attraction. That's one thing which I really believe in.
That's interesting, and especially I'm just looking at this this tree of life which has been merged with your organization. If you can take that power multiplied by all these people, that's something really powerful, right?
Yes.
You're a young guy, you're not done yet, right? But when you're at the finishing line, you're kind of looking back. What is it you want people to say about Anish?
So, two aspects to it. When, as an entrepreneur, when people should look like, okay, hey, if he was able to build a global brand out of India in the fintech industry. But more important for me is like what the society says that, hey, this is what he's actually done for the community in terms of inspiring people to chase their dreams. What he has actually done for in the human goodness, basically. That's what I actually aspire to, and that would be really make me more happy than being the first part which I mentioned. And
Anish, of course, one thing that everybody knows about you is you're married to one of your co-founders, right? I mean, I think if I tried to make my wife a co-founder, she'd throw me out of the house. But how's the whole experience been of being married and at work together?
So me and Mabel, my wife, this is our fifth startup together. We did first 3 startups, and then we got married. And we also worked in companies like PayU and Citrus together as well. Now, working with your wife, definitely, like, it is like you end up talking a lot about work at home, basically. So it's very difficult to actually balance your personal and the professional life. But I think over the period of time, like, we had learned a lot in terms of like the mistakes that you should not do as a couples, probably those things which I had done in the first 2 years, basically, because the people around you should not really feel that, okay, hey, you know what, like, I'm reporting to a husband and wife, the thing. So yeah, those things actually but it's actually a good feeling, basically, to work, because getting a co-founder who is more understanding and this thing. So it really worked.
Journey with Anish goes back to 2007 when we were chasing our own fintech dreams. In Anish, I found this crazy innovator who could think beyond challenges, someone who could just think scale. While our common interest in fintech got us together, what sealed the deal was that we were having complementing skills. Anish being the innovator and me being the one who can make things happen.
What's your one tip for any couples who are, or any founders who are looking to couple up, or any couples who are looking to found something?
I think, like, you should always look around for the people who is working for you. So you should not actually, like, create them a feeling that, okay, just because I'm your husband or a wife, you're actually taking decisions. You should always, like, at work, should be like 2 different individuals. Maybe at home, like, could be husband and wife. So you should always be very conscious, and you should also consider that.
Yeah, well, that's probably good advice for marriages anyway. Always sort of be yourself. 23 years ago, a bit like Dick Whittington, you go out of the house from Kerala to fulfill your dreams, right? And no doubt your family was disappointed or frustrated or confused. What are your family saying now?
I think they had gone through a lot, basically, just because of me. When you actually moved out and somebody like who is dropping out of the school, but they're really happy with what I am, and they're really happy about, like, what you're able to actually give a platform for a lot more people to actually work, and also they're really very happy and excited about, and they're really proud about what I'm doing.
I bet they are, Anish, and they've got every reason to be proud. Right, we're going to finish off with some quick-fire questions. Okay, Anish, it's a tradition of Billion Dollar Idea to end with a few quick-fire questions. You game for that? Yes. You like tennis?
Yes.
Federer or Nadal?
Federer.
Karnataka or Kerala?
Kerala.
Hill station or beach?
Beach.
London or Singapore?
London.
Writing or reading?
Writing.
Faith or intellect?
Intellect.
Anish, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You've really been a first-class guest, and we are inspired by seeing all of this. I'm dreaming of my fish curry, and we wish you every success with Open. I'm sure you're going to knock it out of the park.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Wow. Man drops out of school, is basically homeless, has no experience, no money, fails again, and then founds a billion-dollar business. You really couldn't make it up. Join me, Jasper Reed, next time on another extraordinary episode of Billion Dollar Idea.